The docking bay stretched out like a metal canyon. Ships of every size and shape filled the space. Some were as large as cities. Others carried weapons that could destroy planets. The human vessel looked like a toy among giants. Captain Daewon stood at the airlock and watched his crew prepare for departure. The Whisper had been at the Galactic Council station for 3 days. 3 days of insults, dismissive looks, and barely hidden laughter. He kept his face calm. That was what leaders did. Engineer Bora climbed up from the lower deck. Her hands were covered in grease. She wiped them on a cloth and gave Daewon a tired smile. All systems checked. We are ready to leave whenever you give the word. Daewon nodded. Good work. We depart in 1 hour. I need to meet Ambassador Hyen first. The station corridors were crowded. Aliens of hundreds of species moved through the passages. Some had fur. Some had scales. Some were made of energy fields contained in special suits. All of them were bigger than humans. All of them looked at Daewon like he was a child who had wandered into an adult meeting. A group of Chromath soldiers blocked the corridor. They were massive insect-like creatures with forearms and armor plating that grew naturally from their bodies. Their leader saw Daewon and made a clicking sound. The others joined in. It was laughter. Make way for the mighty human, one said in translated speech. Be careful not to step on him. Daewon walked past them without changing his expression. He had heard worse. Every human who visited the station heard worse. The galaxy had decided that humanity was weak, primitive, and unimportant. Nothing would change their minds except time and proof. The diplomatic section was quieter. Ambassador Hyen had a small office in a corner that other species did not want. She looked up when Daewon entered. Her eyes showed the same exhaustion he felt. Captain, are you leaving already? In 1 hour. I wanted to report what I observed before we go. Hyen gestured to a chair. Daewon sat and pulled out a datapad. He transferred files to her system. There are unusual ship movements near the outer marker buoys. Military vessels from species that should not be working together. Strange communication patterns. Energy signatures that do not match standard configurations. Hyen studied the data. Her frown deepened. This looks like preparation for coordinated action. Pirates, maybe? That would be my assessment. A large group. Very organized. I will submit this to Council Security. Hyen sighed. They will ignore it. They ignore everything we send. Submit it anyway. We document everything. One day it will matter. Daewon stood to leave. Hyen stopped him with a question. Does it bother you? The way they treat us? He thought for a moment. Yes, but anger without action is useless. We keep working. We keep learning. We keep proving ourselves through excellence. Eventually they will notice. Back at the docking bay, the Whisper looked even smaller than before. A massive Avix trade ship had parked nearby. It was at least 50 times larger. Cargo loaders moved around it like insects serving a queen. Trade Minister Kilvara stood near the Whisper. She was tall and covered in beautiful blue feathers. Her species valued art and commerce above all else. She watched the human crew with obvious amusement. Captain Daewon, I wanted to see your vessel before you departed. It is quite charming, like a pet. Daewon stopped in front of her. Trade Minister. Can I help you with something? I am simply curious. Why does your species bother with space travel? You have one small colony, one tiny homeworld. No military power, no economic influence. What do you hope to achieve here? We hope to learn, to grow, to build relationships. Kilvara made a musical sound. How sweet. But the galaxy is not a place for hope and learning. It is a place for power. You have none. Perhaps we define power differently. She laughed and walked away. Daewon watched her go and then boarded his ship. Bora was waiting in the corridor. I heard that conversation through the external sensors. She is very rude. She is honest about how she sees us. I prefer honesty to fake politeness. The crew gathered on the small bridge. There were only 4 of them. Daewon in the captain's chair. Bora at the engineering station. Navigator Taeyang at his console. Security Officer Kyungsu monitoring communications and systems. All stations report ready. Taeyang said. Request departure clearance. Daewon ordered. The station control gave them clearance immediately. No one cared when humans left. The Whisper detached from the docking port and moved slowly through the busy traffic patterns. Other ships did not bother to give them space. The small vessel had to weave between giants. We are clear of the station traffic zone, Taeyang reported. Course set for home. Before Daewon could give the order to jump to faster-than-light travel, Kyung-soo spoke up. Captain, I am picking up the same unusual energy signatures you noted earlier. They are stronger now. Multiple sources, Daewon leaned forward. Show me. The display showed a cluster of contacts near an asteroid field. At least 30 ships. They were not transmitting identification codes. They were not on any registered flight path. They were just waiting. Record everything, Daewon ordered. Full spectrum analysis. Send it to Ambassador Hae-in on the encrypted channel. Should we investigate? Kyung-soo asked. No, we are a scout ship, not a combat vessel. We observe and report. That is our job. The whisper moved away from the suspicious contacts. As they prepared to jump, Daewon looked back at the council station. It hung in space like a jewel, beautiful and bright. Millions of beings lived and worked there. They all thought they were safe. They all thought the council's military power protected them, but Daewon had seen the data. He had counted the ships hiding in the asteroid field. He knew what was coming, and he knew that no one would listen to his warning. Jump when ready, he said quietly. The stars stretched into lines. The whisper vanished from normal space. Behind them, the hidden fleet continued to wait. Their moment would come soon. Very soon. Space was never truly empty. Even in the darkest regions between stars, something always moved. Dust particles, radiation, the faint signals of distant ships traveling through the void. The whisper had been traveling for 6 days. The journey home was long but peaceful. The crew settled into comfortable routines. Bora maintained the engines. Taeyang plotted their course. Kyung-soo monitored communications. Daewon read reports and planned their next mission. They were passing through a major trade corridor. It was supposed to be one of the safest routes in Council space. Heavy patrols kept pirates away. Merchant ships traveled in groups for additional security. Nothing dangerous happened here, Taeyang noticed at first. He was young, but his eyes never missed details. A slight distortion in the sensor readings, energy signatures that appeared for a moment and then vanished. Captain, I have something odd on the long-range sensors. Daewon moved to stand behind the navigator's station. Show me. The display showed empty space ahead, but the readings told a different story. Mass readings that did not match what they could see. Heat signatures scattered across a wide area. The pattern was familiar. Very familiar. That is a fleet hiding behind sensor-dampening fields, Daewon said. A large one. Bora's voice came through the internal communication system. How large? At least 50 ships. Maybe more. Before anyone could respond, the space ahead erupted with light. Ships appeared from nowhere. Dozens of them. They were not council vessels. These were pirate ships, each one painted in dark colors and covered with weapons. They emerged from behind an asteroid field where they had been waiting. A Chromath trade convoy was traveling through the corridor. 5 massive cargo ships protected by 2 military escorts. The pirates fell on them like predators on prey. Recording everything, Kyung-soo said. His fingers moved quickly across his console. All sensors at maximum. We need to document this. The battle was brutal and fast. The pirate ships moved in perfect coordination. They surrounded the convoy and attacked from all angles. The Chromath escorts tried to fight back. Their weapons fired continuously. They destroyed 3 pirate vessels in the first minute, but there were too many pirates. For every ship destroyed, 5 more took its place. The escorts were overwhelmed. Within minutes, both were disabled. The cargo ships tried to run, but they were too slow. Pirates swarmed them like insects on a dying animal. We need to leave, Daewon said calmly. Taeyang plotted a course away from the battle. Maximum speed. Course plotted. Bora, I need everything the engines can give us. You will have it, Captain. The whisper turned away from the battle. The small ship accelerated smoothly. They were almost clear when Kyung-soo spoke again. Captain, 3 pirate vessels have broken off from the main group. They are pursuing us, Daewon felt his jaw tighten. They noticed us. They are much faster than the cargo ships. They think we will be an easy target. How long until they are in weapons range? 4 minutes. Daewon sat back in his chair. His mind worked through possibilities. The Whisper had no weapons. It was designed for stealth and speed, not combat. But it had one advantage. The crew had trained together for years. They knew their ship perfectly. They knew what it could do. Taeyang. Remember the training exercise we did last month? The one with the obstacle course? The navigator smiled. I remember. We are going to do something similar. Bora, I need you to give me precise power control. No automation. I want manual control of everything. Switching to manual systems now. Kyung-soo, track those pirate ships. Tell me exactly where their weapons are aimed. Understood, Captain. The pirate ships closed in. They were larger than the Whisper and heavily armed. They began firing before they were fully in range. Energy bolts streaked through space. Most missed by wide margins. They were not trying to hit yet. They were trying to scare their prey into stopping. 2 minutes to optimal firing range, Kyung-soo reported. Daewon watched his display. He could see everything. The positions of all 3 pirate vessels, their speed and trajectory, the way they moved in formation. They were confident. They expected an easy victory. Now, Daewon said, the Whisper moved like a dancer. It rolled to the side, engines firing at angles that should have torn the ship apart. But Bora knew exactly how much stress the hull could take. She pushed every system to its limit but not beyond. The first pirate ship fired a full barrage. Every weapon it had. The shots passed through empty space. The Whisper was already somewhere else. Taeyang plotted a course that seemed impossible. The ship dove toward a cluster of small asteroids. It weaved between rocks that were barely larger than the vessel itself. The pirates followed, but they were too big and too slow. One of them scraped against an asteroid and had to fall back for repairs. 2 ships remaining, Kyung-soo said. They are splitting up to flank us. Good. That makes them predictable. The Whisper accelerated hard. Bora rerouted power from life support to the engines. They could breathe reserve air for a while. Speed was more important than comfort. The ship shot forward like an arrow. One pirate tried to cut them off. It moved into their path and fired. Kyung-soo saw the targeting solution a second before the weapons fired. He called out the timing. Daewon and Taeyang moved together. The ship twisted. The shots missed by meters. The second pirate came from above. It was a smart move. But Kyung-soo was monitoring everything. He knew where every ship was at every moment. He fed the data to Taeyang, who adjusted their course continuously. The chase continued for 20 minutes. The pirates fired hundreds of times. They did not land a single hit. The Whisper seemed to know where every shot would go before it was fired. It moved with precision that defied logic. Finally, Daewon saw what he was looking for. A sensor-dampening nebula. It was small but dense. Perfect for hiding. There, take us in. The Whisper dove into the nebula. Sensors became useless inside the dense clouds. The pirate ship stopped at the edge. They knew that following into the nebula was dangerous. They could not see. They could not track. They would be flying blind. After a few minutes, the pirates gave up. They turned back to rejoin their fleet. The convoy was already looted. Their leader would be angry that they let one ship escape. But they had bigger prizes to celebrate. Inside the nebula, the Whisper drifted on minimal power. The crew was silent for a long moment. Then Bora laughed. It was a sound of relief and pride. We did it. We actually did it, Taeyang grinned. That was the best flying I have ever done. Kyung-soo nodded. Perfect coordination. Every second mattered. Daewon allowed himself a small smile. Good work, everyone. Kyung-soo, did we get everything recorded? Every second. Full tactical data on the pirate fleet. Their formations, weapon capabilities, coordination patterns, everything. Excellent. We will wait here for an hour to make sure they are gone. Then we continue home. This information needs to reach Council security immediately. The crew settled in to wait. Outside the nebula, the pirate fleet finished looting the convoy and vanished back into deep space. They had won a great victory, but they had also made a mistake. They had let one small ship escape. One ship that saw everything, one ship that would remember. Admiral Yong-soo read the report 3 times. Each time his frown grew deeper. The data was clear, detailed, undeniable. A massive pirate fleet was operating in Council space. They were organized, well-equipped, and growing bolder with each attack. He looked up at Captain Daewon, who stood at attention in front of his desk. The captain had arrived home 2 hours ago and came directly to military headquarters. He had not even taken time to rest. This is excellent intelligence work, Captain. The tactical analysis alone is worth its weight in gold. You documented everything. Thank you, Admiral. My crew performed perfectly under pressure. I am submitting this to Galactic Council security immediately. They need to act on this before more convoys are attacked. Daewon hesitated. Sir, with respect, I do not think they will listen. They have to listen. This is solid intelligence from a direct observation. It is solid intelligence from humans. They do not take us seriously. Yong-Soo sighed. He knew Daewon was probably right, but he had to try anyway. Let me handle the council. You and your crew get some rest. You earned it. The report reached council security within the hour. It was marked as urgent and flagged for immediate attention. Director Malthorn received it on his personal terminal. He was a member of the Sauric species. His people had been part of the council for 2,000 years. They prided themselves on their ancient wisdom and superior judgment. He opened the report, saw that it came from human sources, closed it without reading past the first page. His assistant noticed. Director, that report is marked urgent. It is from the humans. Their scout ship claims to have observed a fleet of 50 pirate vessels. 50. Do you know how much coordination that would require? How much resources? It is obviously an exaggeration from an inexperienced crew. But sir, they included full sensor data and tactical analysis. Sensor data from a ship the size of a shuttle. Their equipment probably cannot tell the difference between a cargo container and a warship. File the report in the general database and move on. We have real security concerns to address. The report was filed and forgotten. Admiral Yong-Soo received a brief acknowledgement that his submission was received. Nothing more. 3 days later, another convoy was attacked. This time it was an Avix merchant fleet. 12 ships traveling together with 4 military escorts. The pirates appeared without warning and overwhelmed them in minutes. The escorts were destroyed. The cargo ships were looted. 200 crew members were killed. Trade Minister Kilvara called for an emergency council session. She was angry and frightened. Her species depended on trade. These attacks were destroying their economy. We demand action. Our ships are being destroyed. Our people are dying. What is council security doing? Director Malthorn stood before the council chamber. We are increasing patrols, adding more ships to escort duty. The pirates will be found and eliminated. Ambassador Heian raised her hand to speak. The council speaker looked annoyed but allowed it. Humans had observer status. They could speak, but their words carried little weight. Honored council members, I have information that may help address this crisis. Several council members whispered to each other. The human ambassador rarely spoke. Most of them had forgotten she was even present. One of our ships directly observed a pirate fleet attack. We have detailed tactical data including fleet composition, coordination patterns, and probable base locations. This information was submitted to Director Malthorn 3 days ago. All eyes turned to Malthorn. He shifted uncomfortably. Yes, I received a report from human sources. It was determined to be unreliable. On what basis? Heian asked calmly. The ship in question is barely larger than a personal transport. Its sensors are not rated for military reconnaissance. The crew has no formal intelligence training. The report claimed to have observed 50 pirate vessels. Such a claim requires verification from credible sources. Heian held up a data pad. The report includes full-spectrum sensor recordings, verified timestamps, energy signature analysis, weapon classification, tactical movement patterns. Everything is documented and cross-referenced. I have it here if anyone wishes to review it. High Commander Vexthar spoke from his seat. With respect, Ambassador, your species has been in space for less than a century. You have no military tradition, no combat experience. Why should we trust your tactical analysis over our own experts? Because we were there. We saw it happen. We recorded everything. And the convoy that was attacked 3 days ago matches the pattern we predicted in that report. The council chamber fell silent. Trade Minister Kilvara spoke up. You predicted this attack? Our analysis suggested that the pirates would target Avix trade routes next. The report included 3 probable attack locations. The convoy was hit at one of those locations. Kilvara turned to Malthorn. Is this true? The security director looked trapped. I did not read the full report. I saw no reason to take it seriously. You did not read it? Kilvara's voice rose. My ships were destroyed. My people died. And you did not even read a report that might have prevented it. The council erupted in argument. Some members demanded Malthorn's resignation. Others defended him, saying no one could have known the report was accurate. A few suggested that perhaps they should at least look at the human intelligence now. Ambassador Heian waited for the noise to die down. Then she spoke again. Honored Council, We are not asking for recognition or praise. We simply want to help. Our report also includes predictions for the next likely targets. If you are willing to coordinate with us, we may be able to prevent further attacks. High Commander Vexthar stood. The Chromath Empire does not need help from species who have never won a battle. We will handle this ourselves. He walked out of the chamber. Several other military leaders followed him. The message was clear. Pride was more important than practical help. The council session ended with no decision. Heian returned to her small office and sent a message to Admiral Yongsu. They will not listen. What do we do now? The Admiral's response came quickly. We continue monitoring. We document everything, and we prepare for what comes next. Over the following weeks, the attacks continued. 6 more convoys were hit. The pirates grew bolder. They started attacking closer to major trade routes. Shipping companies refused to send vessels without heavy military escorts. Trade slowed. Prices increased. Fear spread. The Whisper continued its monitoring missions. Captain Day One and his crew tracked pirate movements. They documented every attack. They built detailed profiles of enemy tactics and capabilities. They submitted reports after each observation. Every report was filed away. Every warning was ignored. The humans were building the most complete intelligence picture of the pirate threat that existed anywhere in Council space, and no one wanted to look at it. On his ship, Daewon studied the data one more time. The pattern was clear. The pirates were not random raiders. They were organized, professional. They were preparing for something big, something that would shock the entire galaxy. He just hoped someone would listen before it was too late. The alarm caught everyone by surprise. One moment, the Galactic Council Station was peaceful. Millions of beings going about their daily business, trade deals being negotiated, ships coming and going, the normal rhythm of galactic life. The next moment, chaos. 300 pirate vessels appeared in coordinated jumps around the station. They came from every direction at once. The sensor operators could not believe what they were seeing. Nothing this large had ever attempted to attack a council facility before. The station defense fleet scrambled to respond. 50 warships launched from their docking bays. It should have been enough. The station was one of the most heavily defended locations in known space. But the pirates knew what they were doing. They had planned this perfectly. High Commander Vexthar took personal command of the defense. He stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the tactical display with growing horror. The pirate formation was flawless. They were using exactly the tactics that the human report had described weeks ago, the report he had dismissed. All ships, formation Delta 7, focus fire on their command vessels. His orders were followed perfectly, but the pirates had anticipated the standard council defense patterns. They scattered at the last moment. The concentrated fire hit empty space. Then they regrouped and struck from unexpected angles. Within the first 30 minutes, a dozen council ships were disabled or destroyed. The pirates had better intelligence, better coordination, better tactics. They were winning. On the station, panic spread through the civilian areas. Evacuation alarms blared. People ran for emergency shuttles. Millions tried to escape at once. The docking bays became scenes of chaos. Ships collided. Crowds pushed and shoved. Fear turned rational beings into desperate animals. The Whisper was docked in Bay 73. Captain Daewon had brought his ship back for resupply. They were scheduled to leave in 2 days. Now they were trapped in the middle of the largest pirate attack in Council history. Bora ran up from the engine room. Captain, we need to leave now. This station is going to fall. Daewon stood at the airlock looking out at the chaos. Ships were launching in every direction with no coordination. Some were crashing into each other. Others were flying directly into the battle zone without any defensive plan. It was a disaster. If we run now, we will die like everyone else, he said quietly. What? Bora stared at him. What are you saying? Look at them, no plan. No coordination. The defense fleet is fighting blind. They do not understand pirate tactics. But we do. Kyungsoo appeared behind them. Captain, are you suggesting what I think you are suggesting? We have been studying these pirates for weeks. We know how they move, how they attack, how they think. We can help. Tae Yang joined them on the bridge. The young navigator looked scared but determined. We are one small ship. No weapons. How can we help? Daewon turned to face his crew. We do what we do best. We observe. We analyze. We coordinate. We become the eyes and brain that the defense fleet is missing. Everyone to stations. We launch in 2 minutes. The crew moved without hesitation. They trusted their captain completely. If he said they could help, then they would help. The Whisper launched smoothly. While other ships panicked and crashed, the small human vessel moved with perfect precision. It slipped through the traffic and entered the battle zone. Kyung-Soo, start broadcasting tactical data on all Council military frequencies. Full spectrum analysis. Enemy positions, movement patterns, weapon status, everything. Broadcasting now, Captain. At first, no one listened. The Council commanders were too busy fighting to pay attention to transmissions from an unknown source. But a few desperate captains noticed something. The tactical data was incredibly accurate. It showed enemy positions with perfect precision. It predicted pirate movements before they happened. One Chromath cruiser followed the Whisper's targeting suggestions. It destroyed 2 pirate ships in quick succession. The captain immediately requested more information. Unknown vessel, this is Cruiser Vengeance. Your data is accurate. Can you provide targeting solutions for my squadron? Kyung-Soo looked at Dae-won. The captain nodded. Cruiser Vengeance, this is the human vessel Whisper. Sending targeting data now. Suggest you focus on the pirate destroyer at coordinates 478. It is their communication relay. The cruiser followed the advice. The pirate destroyer exploded. Suddenly, a whole section of the pirate fleet lost coordination. They started making mistakes. Word spread quickly. More council ships started listening to the Whisper's broadcasts. The small human vessel moved through the battle like a ghost. It never fired a shot. It did not need to. It was doing something far more valuable. Dae-won coordinated everything from his captain's chair. He could see the entire battle in his mind. The pirates were following patterns he had studied for weeks. Every move they made was predictable. He knew what they would do before they did it. Tae-yang, bring us around to Sector 9. Pirates are preparing a flanking maneuver there. Course set. Kyung-Soo, warn the defenders in that sector. Tell them to hold position and prepare defensive formation. Message sent. The pirates tried their flanking attack, but the council ships were ready. The ambush failed. 3 pirate vessels were destroyed. The rest retreated in confusion. On his flagship, High Commander Vexthar watched his tactical display in amazement. His fleet was suddenly fighting with perfect coordination. Someone was feeding them real-time intelligence. Someone who understood the enemy better than anyone. Who is this Whisper? He demanded. His communications officer checked the registration. It is the human scout ship, Commander. The one that submitted the intelligence reports. Vexthar felt shame wash over him. The humans, the species he had mocked and dismissed. They were saving his fleet. Open a channel to them. Channel open, Commander. Human vessel Whisper. This is High Commander Vexthar. I am assuming overall tactical command. Will you coordinate with my fleet? There was a pause. Then Dae-won's calm voice came through. We are already coordinating, Commander. Sending you our complete tactical analysis now. Suggest you organize your forces into 3 groups. We will guide each one. For the first time in his military career, Vexthar followed advice from someone he had considered inferior. He organized his fleet exactly as the humans suggested. The battle turned. The council forces stopped reacting and started anticipating. They knew where the pirates would be before they arrived. They struck at weak points with perfect timing. The pirates, suddenly facing organized resistance, began to falter. The Whisper itself never took a single hit. Bora pushed the engines beyond all safety limits. Tae-young flew maneuvers that should have been impossible. Kyung-Soo coordinated communications with dozens of ships at once. The crew worked as one perfect unit. After 3 hours of intense fighting, the pirate fleet began to retreat. They had expected an easy victory. Instead, they found organized resistance that matched their every move. Their commander, Warlord Krax, recognized defeat when he saw it. He ordered a withdrawal. The council fleet pursued them, but Dae-won warned against it. Let them go. They are retreating into a prepared fallback position. If you follow, you will take heavy casualties. Vexthar wanted to argue. He wanted revenge, but he had learned his lesson. He ordered his fleet to hold position. The pirates escaped, but they left behind 40 destroyed vessels and their reputation for invincibility. The station was saved. Millions of lives were preserved, and everyone knew who had saved them. The tiny ship that no one had noticed was now the most famous vessel in Council space. The silence after battle was strange. The station still stood. The defense fleet was battered but intact. Debris floated in space where pirate ships had died. Emergency crews worked to rescue survivors and repair damage. Life continued, but everything had changed. Captain Daewon sat in his command chair and watched the recovery operations. His crew was exhausted. Bora had fallen asleep at her station. Taeyang was drinking his third cup of coffee. Kyung-soo was still monitoring communications, but his eyes were half closed. "Captain," Kyung-soo said, "we are receiving dozens of communication requests. Every council member wants to speak with you. The media wants interviews. Military commanders want tactical briefings. Tell them we need 12 hours to rest. Then I will speak with whoever needs me." "Understood." "But sir, High Commander Vexthar is requesting an immediate meeting. He says it is urgent and personal." Daewon sighed. "Very well. Tell him I will meet him in 1 hour." The meeting took place on Vexthar's flagship. Daewon took a shuttle across to the massive Chromath warship. It was easily 100 times larger than the Whisper. Guards escorted him through corridors that could have fit his entire ship inside them. Vexthar waited alone in his private office. The commander looked tired. His armor was scorched from battle damage. One of his 4 arms was wrapped in medical bandaging. When Daewon entered, Vexthar stood and did something unexpected. He bowed his head. "Captain Daewon, thank you for coming. You requested this meeting, Commander." "I did, because I owe you an apology." "A sincere one." Vexthar gestured to a seat. Daewon sat. The commander continued. "I dismissed your intelligence reports. I mocked your warnings. I called your species pets and primitives. I was wrong. Completely wrong. Your crew saved this station. You saved thousands of lives, including mine." Daewon listened quietly. He did not interrupt. "I need to understand something," Vexthar said. "Your ship is tiny. You have no weapons. Your species has no military tradition, yet you fought better than any ship in my fleet." "How?" "We did not fight, Commander. We coordinated. We observed. We analyzed. We prepared. That is not enough explanation. I have seen your tactical data. You predicted pirate movements with perfect accuracy. You knew what they would do before they did it. That requires more than preparation." Daewon considered his words carefully. "My crew has trained together for 5 years. We know our ship completely. We know each other completely. Every member can do their job perfectly even under extreme stress. That is not magic. That is practice and discipline. And the pirate tactics? We studied them. For weeks we observed every attack. We documented everything. We built profiles of their commanders, their ships, their preferred strategies. When the battle began, we recognized the patterns immediately. We knew what was coming because we had done our homework." Vexthar was silent for a long moment. Then he laughed. It was a bitter sound, so simple, so obvious. "We had all the resources in the galaxy. We had massive fleets and ancient military traditions. But we did not do the work. We relied on our size and power. You relied on skill and preparation. We lost. You won. We did not win alone, Commander. Your fleet fought bravely once they had the information they needed. This was a shared victory. You are being generous. But I accept the lesson, and I will make sure others learn it too." The Galactic Council convened an emergency session 2 days later. Every member was present. The chamber was packed. Ambassador Heian walked to the speaker's platform. For the first time in human history, the council chamber gave her their complete attention. "Honored members, I have been asked to present a complete analysis of the pirate threat and the recent battle. This information has been compiled by human military intelligence over the past several weeks." She activated a holographic display. It showed everything. Every pirate attack. Every warning that was ignored. Every prediction that came true. The chamber watched in silence as the story unfolded. The humans had been right about everything. Every single thing. When the presentation ended, Trade Minister Kilvara spoke first. "Ambassador, on behalf of the Avix people, I apologize. We treated you with disrespect. We ignored your warnings. Many of my people died because of our arrogance. I am sorry." Other council members added their own apologies. Some were sincere. Some were clearly uncomfortable. But all of them recognized that something fundamental had changed. Humans could no longer be dismissed or ignored. Director Malthorn was removed from his position that same day. The council offered the role of intelligence director to Admiral Young-soo. He accepted on one condition. Human intelligence methods would be adopted across all Council security operations. Training would be mandatory for all member species. The Council agreed. Within a week, humanity received 47 diplomatic requests. Species that had never acknowledged human existence suddenly wanted alliances, trade agreements, military cooperation, cultural exchanges. The humans were careful in their responses. They did not forget how they had been treated. But they also understood the value of building relationships. The Whisper was given permanent docking privileges at the Council station. It was classified as a strategic asset. Captain Day One politely declined offers of a larger ship or a promotion. He preferred his small crew and his familiar vessel. A reporter from the Galactic News Network requested an interview. Day One agreed. The interview was broadcast across Council space. Billions watched. Captain, how does it feel to suddenly be famous? You went from being ignored to being celebrated across the galaxy. Day One thought about his answer. We are still the same crew on the same small ship. We always had these capabilities. The galaxy simply was not paying attention. We did not become better. Others just started noticing what we could already do. What would you say to other species who might be underestimating humanity? I would say that size does not equal strength. Power does not equal skill. Technology does not replace training. We humans may be small. We may be new to the galaxy. But we are dedicated. We work hard. We prepare thoroughly. We do not give up. Those qualities matter more than any weapon or any ship size. Do you think the galaxy has learned its lesson? Some have. Some have not. But that is acceptable. We do not need everyone to respect us. We just need to keep doing excellent work. Respect will follow naturally. The interview ended. Day One returned to his ship. The Whisper was scheduled to depart for another monitoring mission in 2 days. The crew was resting and preparing. Everything was normal, exactly as it should be. On the day of departure, something unusual happened. As the Whisper moved through the docking bay, every ship they passed transmitted the same message. It was a formal military salute. Respect given from one vessel to another. Even the massive Chromath battleships acknowledged the tiny human scout. Bora laughed in delight. Taeyang grinned. Kyungsu allowed himself a satisfied smile. Daewon simply nodded. They noticed, Bora said. They did, Daewon agreed. But we still have work to do. The pirates are still out there. The galaxy still needs protection. We still have missions to complete. Then let us get to work, Captain. The Whisper cleared the station and jumped to faster-than-light travel. It looked the same as always. Small, unremarkable, easy to overlook. But now everyone who saw it knew the truth. Size did not matter. Appearance did not matter. What mattered was the crew inside. The training, the dedication, the excellence. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never ignore the ship that no one notices, because that ship might be the one that saves you when everything falls apart. And humanity had proven something important too. They belonged in the galaxy, not because of size or strength, but because of skill, preparation, and unwavering commitment to doing things right. Those qualities would take them far, very far indeed.